Good afternoon, children. Welcome to your English class today. It is 28th of May and pretty warm. The temperatures are rising, so I would like to suggest that you look after yourself very well. Keep hydrated, drink a lot of water and juices and whatever makes you feel comfortable. Drink buttermilk. It's really nice at this time of the year. It keeps your temperatures a little lowered and you will feel much more energetic. So take care of yourself. It is really required, and take care of your family. Yesterday I was working on the lesson with you people, and I was going through the reading of the lesson King Tut, the saga continues. And as the name suggests, the saga will still continue. I'm going to be working from where I left yesterday, and that would be page number 23. So we were at the end of the page, the second last major paragraph. I'll be continuing from there, and it is about Howard Carter, who had discovered the tomb after a lot of trying here, there, and futile searches, as it was suggested, and then they discovered the tomb. So it talks about, it contains, though hastily ransacked it in antiquity, was surprisingly complete. So whatever was inside the tomb, which was discovered by Howard Carter, it was properly catalogued, and it was all there. Nothing had been taken away, as I told you yesterday. So they remain the richest royal collection ever found and have become part of the pharaoh's legend. So whatever was found in that tomb is of particular interest to the people, because it is one of the richest caches of treasure that was found, which is still intact. Nothing has been taken and put up in the black market or lost. Everything has been taken out and preserved in the way it was found. Stunning artifacts in gold, their eternal brilliance meant to guarantee resurrection. So those beautiful things that were made of gold and the other things which were used by the pharaoh himself, all these things helped recreate the era, the age, the way the people used to live at that time, especially the royalty, because it was a royal grave that they had dug up. Caused a sensation at the time of discovery. Of course, it was a major discovery at that time, and till date, Tutankhamun's tomb has been the best discovery in any of the mummies that have been discovered. Around 250 mummies have been dug out of the Valley of Kings so far, and they still keep finding new ones. But his tomb and the treasure which is associated with that tomb, that is what is the best one till date. So Howard Carter, in his discovery of the tomb, he effectively put his name in the history of archaeology forever. Nobody can forget what he has discovered. So it caused a sensation at that time of the discovery, and still gets the most attention. All these things still get most attention. But Tut was also buried with everyday things he had want in the afterlife: board games, a bronze razor, linen undergarments, cases of food and wine. So anything possible that he might require, which he used in his life itself, was buried with him. They were pretty cruel also. They would even kill the main servants, the cook, the ones looking after the king or the pharaoh, and they would also be buried with the pharaoh, because it was meant to be that they would be required in the afterlife as well to serve the pharaoh. After months of carefully recording the pharaoh's funerary treasures, Carter began investigating his 3 nested coffins. Opening the first, so I told you in the lesson yesterday that there were 3 big boxes, and they were the ones which contained everything. So when they filled one box, that was the main one, then it was put into a second one which had all the other things, and into a third one which had all the rest of the things. So it was a huge cache. And this is what he's talking about, that he began investigating his 3 nested coffins. Opening the first, he found a shroud adorned with garlands of willow and olive leaves. A shroud is a ceremonial cloth in which a dead body is wrapped. Remember, I talked about the Shroud of Turin, so something like that. So he found a shroud adorned is embellished or decorated with garlands of willow and olive leaves. Willow is a tree, and they had made garlands out of it, out of the leaves, and the olive leaves. Olive leaves have been used in the Middle East, in the northern part of Africa, as a symbol of something good. It is like, you see that toran that people hang on the door? It is those banana leaves which are woven into a sort of a thread, and then it is put on the door, and it is supposed to be auspicious. Just like that, the olive leaves have a lot of importance. To extend an olive branch is to extend the hand of friendship. So it has a lot of symbolic meaning. And here, whatever was buried with the pharaoh, all had symbolic meanings. So while celery is a salad vegetable, lotus petals and cornflowers, the faded evidence of a burial in March or April. Now all these things meant that he was buried in the spring, because these flowers and these kind of leaves and all these things would be available in this spring season. So he must have died near about that time, and then he was buried. When he finally reached the mummy, though, he ran into trouble. This is Howard Carter we're talking about. The ritual raisins had hardened, cementing Tut to the bottom of his solid gold coffin. So whatever had been used to keep him embalmed, the embalming fluids, those fluids had hardened, and the body had got stuck. In 3,300 years, it had stuck to the bottom of the coffin, and it just wouldn't move. They couldn't take it out. And when they used to embalm the body, it used to be a procedure properly done. The Egyptians were master surgeons in certain things, at least about the dead bodies and mummification. They were masters. They knew the technique of removing the internal organs through the nose, especially the brain. They would drain the brain through the nose, because these are the openings which were available to them. And you know that the ENT, the ear, nose and throat are connected. So they used the mouth to remove the internal organs of the torso, which is the upper part of the body, which would contain the digestive system and the heart and the lungs and all that stuff. And then they would remove the brain portion through the nose. Now the reason was that all these organs inside, number one, they would putrefy. Number two, the main organs used to be kept in 4 jars. They would take up jars, they would put the heart in one, the brain in one, and the digestive system in one, the stomach and all that stuff, and then they would put the lungs in one. So their thought process was that these things would be required in his afterlife when he is going to be reincarnated or is going to be born again. So he will need these organs, and they would put them up like that. So it is the same theory that works in India. You know, many people feel that they cannot donate their organs, especially eyes and all, which means that in the next life they will be born blind or without that particular organ. So these are the things which were part of that country also and that culture also. So all these were put in separate jars, embalmed separately, and the body would be just a cavity. So a cavity for the torso and a cavity for the brain, and then they would mummify it. And when the mummies were opened, so people realized that there was nothing inside, just the skin and the bones. That's how they would do it. I'll be completing this first audio video here, and I'll be continuing in the next one because it is already into almost 10 minutes. Thank you.